I voted to get these damn files released, and it's like a total 180.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
He campaigned, he said, look, we're going to release the files. And what has been disappointing is we've, for the last 5-6 months, have had to fight the administration at every step of the way, which gets me to believe, like, who is protecting these people?
So I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off. I've been covering this topic for a while.
So, all right, I'm just going to cut you off. All right. This is the thing about the Epstein Files that is just so infuriating. It's like, Shawn Ryan is clearly a smart guy. He's ex-military, super manly masculinity, all that shit. And he's been going out for years about, how he thinks pedophiles should be killed. And it's just like the most obvious thing is who the king pedophile is. And this guy just has this insane blind spot for Trump. Trump is all over the files. Like, for anyone to think that Trump wasn't diddling little kids is either a crazy person, they're stupid, or they just have an insane blind spot for Trump. But we're going to get in that blind spot right now. They're going to talk about the files, and it's just like it's super weird that they just will not look in the actual direction that they need to look.
Time. I started this with Ryan Montgomery about 2 years ago.
I know you did.
Then I brought on Tim Tebow. We're bringing on your buddy Schlepp, who's going after Roblox. Yeah. I know you're the first and only congressman to actually speak out against Roblox, at least according to Schlepp's attorney.
Yeah.
And I just interviewed Elizabeth Phillips. Are you familiar with this Camp Kanakuk?
I'm not.
It's the biggest Christian camp in the fucking world.
Yeah.
And I brought Elizabeth Phillips on, and she talks about how they've been molesting thousands of kids for years. And
isn't that interesting? A Christian camp is known for molesting little kids. This is what I heard, is that they would the counselor would have sex with them or whatever, and they'd have to read Bible verses while the other person was getting gaped. Some sick shit, but that's just classic Christian stuff, Christian Catholic religion.
Them under NDA after a settlement so that they can never, as a kid, come out and talk about their sexual abuse at fucking Camp Kanakuk.
That's sick.
And now we have, I fucking voted for this shit. I voted to get these damn files released, and it's like a total.
You did vote for this shit. Thanks for owning it, Shawn. You voted for this shit.
180 just happened.
Well, I don't know if you had the president on or the vice president on your show, but they
had both of them on.
They campaigned on this, right? And so when Massey and I originally did the bill, we thought, okay, Trump should be for this, because he campaigned. He said, look, we're going to release the files. Here's the truth of the matter. No one cared about this issue since the 1990s. It's not like a Donald Trump thing. We didn't release the files under Biden. This thing was going on since the 2000s. In 1996, Maria launched a complaint with the FBI, and she was told, we're not going to do anything. By the way, you talk to some of the other survivors, they were told, don't talk to the New York police. Epstein is too connected. For 30 years, until some of the documents just came out because of Massey and my bill, Maria was called a liar by everyone in power and said, she never filed a complaint with the FBI. So when Trump said he wants to release the files, he was right. When he said that the system is corrupt, protecting rich and powerful people.
Bro. Like I love you on my team, dude. I really do, on the Democrat side. But Trump was never right when he said he wants to release the files. He never intended to release the files. Like, full stop.
Was right. And we gave him the benefit of the doubt. Then Pam Bondi comes and says, there are no more files. Come on. That's when Massey and I do this bill. And we initially thought maybe Trump would support it because his own attorney general is betraying his promise. And what has been disappointing is we've, for the last 5-6 months, have had to fight the administration at every step of the way, which gets me to believe, like, who is protecting these people?
I don't understand. I cannot. I got really fucking pissed off at the Democrat Party because the maps, the minor.
Who is protecting these pedophiles? Who do you think, Ro? Who do you think, dude? I don't know if he just can't answer that question because he's on a right-wing show, but he knows damn well who's protecting those files. You're not fighting the administration. You're fighting Donald Trump.
Attracted persons shit before Trump came into office. We talked about it all the time. Now, why are we protecting? Why is the White House protecting pedophiles? Why is the White House protecting pedophiles? I just don't understand.
What do you mean you don't understand? At this point, all the pictures of Trump, all the instances of Trump with Epstein, and now he's in the White House and doesn't want to release the files. Why do you think, dude? Like, ooh, this is like, I don't understand like how we're not just making the connection.
It, Ro. I can't fucking get it through my head why we would protect pedophiles. The other thing is, this country has the biggest fucking problem with sex exploitation and sex trafficking in the world. We can talk about fucking Venezuela and Mexico and Ukraine.
That's just wrong. That's wrong on its face. We have a problem with sex trafficking, but it ain't nothing compared to most third world countries. That is honestly a stupid thing to say, Shawn. That's ridiculous, dude. To say that somehow our child trafficking is worse than Russia, worse than China, worse than Mexico. Get the hell out of here, dude. Please.
In Russia and fucking China and waste, fraud, and abuse and fucking liberals this and Democrats this and Republicans. And we have a pedophile problem. We have a fucking pedophile problem in
And
this
the
country,
president's a
and
pedophile.
nobody's doing anything about it.
And you voted for him.
Except you and Thomas Massey. What the fuck is going on?
You know how I know this? Because
is everybody in government a fucking pedophile now? What the fuck is happening?
well, I don't understand who they're
No, but the top guy is, though.
trying to protect. Because I keep saying it's not about Trump. There's so many
It's about Trump.
people, Democrats, Republicans, who are involved in all of this. Just release the files. And we know, they say, how do you know, Ro, that there are other men involved? First of all, just use your common sense. There are 1,200 plus survivors. You think one guy raped all of them? You think one guy abused all of them? Of course not. There was a system of powerful, rich men who either trafficked in these girls or abused them or showed up to Epstein's rape island. The survivors haven't told me the specific names, but what they have told me with their lawyers is the type of people who were involved. A Wall Street banker, a powerful politician. And they've said that they sat through interviews with the FBI. They're called 302 statements, and they told the names on those 302 statements. So release the 302 statements. They're not doing that, even though the law explicitly calls for releasing those statements. We'll know who these powerful men are. Then there was a prosecution memo. You know, originally there were 60 counts against Epstein, supposed to be in Florida. They prosecuted him on 2 counts. There's a memo which explains why there should have been 60 counts, including ties with foreign countries, including ties with people who were financing him, including allegations of a honeypot system where he was trying to entrap basically powerful men. And they're not releasing the memo, even though the law explicitly says we want to know all the decisions of why he was charged or not charged. This is, I mean, they're covering it up, and the people are asking why. Who are the powerful forces that have such influence that they're covering this up?
Every citizen I talk to, hear, see on social, anything, once those files released, was it every single person in Congress that voted for it to release them? And was there every single person in the Senate except one person?
Everyone in the House except one.
Everyone in the House except
and every senator. But I got to give credit not just to Massey's courage, because he's got billionaires funding against him, and the billionaires don't like me these days either. I mean, you go after the Epstein class, you make a lot of enemies. You know, look at my ex, and you see the people who go after Massey and me. But it wasn't just Massey and me. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and Nancy Mace stuck their neck out to sign a discharge petition that the two of us had to force a vote on it. They got bullied by the White House. They got bullied by the Speaker. They got threatened. Their political careers were threatened. Marjorie Taylor.
I mean, that's true. Marjorie Taylor Greene was an ardent Trump supporter. Like, she voted with him 100% of the time. And she just said, I want to see the Epstein files. And Trump said no. And that's where that rift has come from. That's one of the things, like, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, they are super serious about the Epstein files. Like, religion-based type serious, like abortion type serious. And they were just lied to by their Lord and Savior, by Donald Trump. And now Marjorie Taylor Greene is leaving the party entirely. Wild.
Lost her seat, gave up her seat in Congress over this.
Yeah, didn't the president tell her? What did he tell her?
He told her that she's betraying him. Look, Marjorie Taylor Greene was for Donald Trump when he came.
He told her that he can't release the files because it will hurt his friends.
On the escalator. She was with Donald Trump when he ran in 2020 and lost. She was with Donald Trump when he said the election was stolen. I disagree with her, but she was out there defending it. She was with Donald Trump in 2024 when DeSantis and others were talking about running against him. No one had been more loyal to Donald Trump. And when she joined the petition, she says, "Well, I'm going to explain to Trump that he actually can be a hero. He's going to come on board. I'm telling you, he's going to come on board." He said, Trump says to him, "Well, you're hurting some of my friends. This is not the right thing. You're hurting people. How about hurting the survivors? How about hurting the women?
Yeah, how about the fucking kids?
It's girls.
Kids hurting your friends?
You know,
Gives a shit about your fucking friends? We give a fuck about kids.
And these are working class girls. I wish people could see."
Sean, is that not a red flag to you? Are there any red flags that bring up your suspicion on Donald Trump at all? Anything?
Stories and how they were exploited. It's a class issue. Rich, powerful people connected to politicians figuring out, well, who's vulnerable? Who doesn't have a father? Who doesn't have a lot of money? You know, how do we get that girl to start with giving us
That's so
massages? You know what
dark.
the saddest thing that I heard from a survivor? They were saying that the survivors are guilty because the survivors were actually recruiters of aiding and abetting other girls in getting raped or getting abused. So one of the survivors says, "Yeah, I did that. You know why I did that? Because I was so afraid that I was going to be abused that I went and I got other junior high girls and other high school girls to take my place because I didn't want to be abused."
Junior high girls.
That's
Junior high girls.
That's dark, man, but it makes sense. It definitely makes sense how the system like keeps itself moving. And that's dark shit right there.
We can't release the files. Before we move on, and we just both get pissed off whose side of what we're doing. What we talked about Ryan Montgomery, Tim Tebow. I told you about Elizabeth Phillips, who I just interviewed. We're bringing on Schlep. I mean, it's such a problem in this country. I'm just curious. What can parents do right now? Not call their congressman, not call their senator. That shit's not working. What can people do right now on their own to protect their kids?
One, they need to know how widespread this is. You know how it's widespread? I realize this because since I've been affiliated with Epstein, I get stopped on an airport. People will say, "Hey, Congressman, can I tell you about what happened to me?" I've known people for 30 years. And they said, "You know, Ro, something happened." One person told me, "You know, when I was 4 to 8 years old, my babysitter's boyfriend abused me. And I never told my mom or my dad because my dad would have killed the guy and my mom would have totally lost it. So I've held this with me." And she said to me, "Ro, it's like a box. You put it in a box and you put it away, but it comes back at any moment." And the amount of people who have faced this, I'm not saying all from Epstein, obviously, just faced this in this country is extraordinary and it's sickening. It's a national crisis. First thing we need to realize is we've got a moral crisis in this country. Mm-hmm. Second thing is when you're having your kids go to a sleepover, go to a sports team, go on a field trip, be paranoid. I mean, I don't want to scare folks, but when you have them on a gaming site, when you have them on the internet, they need to be paranoid. The parents need to understand that this is not something that happens in a remote part of the country. This could happen to your kids. Mm-hmm. But the main reason I want these Epstein files out is because it'll force a reckoning in this country. It'll be the biggest scandal, I fundamentally believe, in 100 years, because it's going to expose how sick our elite culture is, where for their own gratification, they think that they can just abuse these girls and nothing will happen. And that kind of culture has permeated across the nation. They need to be shamed. They need to be held accountable. Mm-hmm. You know, John, there are buildings named after some of these people. And these survivors go around and they're seeing these people celebrated in the financial world, in the political world, honored. And they've committed the most heinous act. It's like, we may not agree on much. I think most Americans agree you don't rape American girls. Like, that's the line you don't cross.
No matter where you're watching, Sean.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a fascinating conversation, and it's just Sean, like, I understand that you don't like pedophiles, but you got to understand, dude, that the number one pedophile in chief is Donald Trump. The guy that you voted for is the pedophile in chief. He's a guy that can make this whole thing unravel, get all the info out, get all the perpetrators out. Maybe not all of them. We'll never get all of them because this type of thing isn't. It's more prevalent on the upper end. Rich people get away with that, but it's not, you know, poor people, that happens to them too. Like, this is a huge problem in general. I'm all for getting the rest of the files released. I'm sure Sean is too, and Ro's working on it as well. So let's see those files, and when we see them, I'll keep you guys updated. Stay tuned.